Now, the other thing that we did using man-in-the-middle proxy was replacing the body of the web page. So basically injecting a JavaScript or replacing any element of the body. Now that will also not work if the web page uses HTTPS because, like I said, the flow will be encrypted. But using this SSL strip script, we can downgrade the connection to HTTP and then modify the code of the page. So let's see how we do that as well. I'm going to go back to Kali and I'm just going to stop man-in-the-middle proxy. I'll leave ItterCap working. And let's have a look on the first command that we executed. So we were doing man-in-the-middle proxy, we're passing it the SSL strip script to downgrade HTTPS connections to HTTP, and then we're running it in transparent mode. Now, leaving it the way it is, we can actually pass more arguments to it. So we can just use the replace argument exactly the same way that I showed you before. So I spent more than one lecture building the replace argument, and I'm just going to use the one that we built before. So I actually have it stored in here. And you can see I have the first one is the one that injects the simple alert script. And then the second one is the one that injects beef code. Now, for testing, I usually test with the simplest case first. So I usually test with the alert first, and then if that works, I'd go with beef. But I've already tested this, and I don't want to make the video too long on you. So I'm just going to test straight away with the beef code. And again, if you don't remember how I wrote this replace argument, please go back to the lecture where I showed you how to analyze the code and how to build this whole argument. I spent more than one lecture explaining this. So right now I'm just going to copy it and I'm going to go here and I'm going to paste it after my transparent argument. So the command looks long, but it's actually very, very simple. We're just using man-in-the-middle dump. We're giving it the SSL strip script to downgrade HTTPS connections to HTTP. We're running man-in-the-middle dump in a transparent mode. And then we're using the replace argument. That's going to look for the slash body in the code. And then it's going to replace that with this code right here, which will inject our beef hook, and then it'll close the body. So we ran this exactly the same before without the SSL strip. And the whole point of using this is if we don't use it on HTTPS websites, the code will be encrypted. So we won't be able to read it. So we won't even be able to see the body tag. Therefore, when we use the SSL strip argument, everything is going to be downgraded to HTTP. We'll be able to read the code, we'll be able to find the body tag, and we'll be able to replace that with our script. So I'm going to hit enter, and that's working. Now I've already run beef before, and I'm just going to go to it here to show you that I don't have any online browsers. Okay, so you can see I've got nothing here. And now I'm going to go to the Windows machine, and I'm just going to go back to hotmail.com. Now, in the basic case, this should not work because we should not be able to inject JavaScript code in HTTPS websites. But because we're using the SSL strip script for man-in-the-middle proxy, the code should have been injected in this page by now. So if I go to beef, you can see I have my target as an online browser here. So I can click on it. I can go on the commands. And I can run all the commands that beef allows me to do. And you should know by now how powerful beef is and how you can use it to do so many things and fool your target and hack into their computer or steal passwords from them or do so many cool stuff. Now, just as a test, I'm going to do something very basic. I'm just going to look for an alert and run an alert dialog to make sure that the JavaScript code can run properly on the target page. So this command right here will only just show an alert saying beef alert dialog. I'm going to execute this and go to the target machine. And as you can see, the code is being executed on the target page. Even though this page is supposed to use HTTPS, we managed to hook it to beef and we managed to get beef to work and execute its commands. So that's it. That's the whole point of this lecture. I wanted to show you how you can run all the attacks that we did so far against HTTPS pages because most of the internet runs on HTTPS these days. So you can pass multiple scripts using the -s argument, or you can just use man-in-the-middle dump exactly the same way that you'd use it with a HTTP page. Just make sure you tell man-in-the-middle dump to use the SSL strip script. One more note, all of this will work against all HTTPS websites, except the ones that use HSTS. So the same applies for what applies for the normal SSL strip tool. HSTS websites are hard-coded into the modern browsers. So the browser will simply just refuse to open that page with a plain HTTP. So even if we use SSL strip, even if it works, the browser will literally just say, no, I'm not going to open this as HTTP because I am pre-programmed not to open pages like this as HTTP. So websites like Google, Facebook, Twitter, and all these very famous websites use HSTS, but pretty much all other websites use plain HTTPS, which can be downgraded to HTTP using this method.